Hi there, this is Derek Old School Fournier coming to you live from Studio 76. I normally record these training camp videos from One Buck Place, but the lighting was crazy. Yesterday's schedule was crazy. I had to get out of there, so I apologize for the latency in this report. Day one was truncated by bad weather, which had the team drop back into One Buck Place after 9 minutes of warm-up. The fans were not deterred, though, sitting in the aluminum stands despite the lightning all around, though, to be honest, I grew up down here, so I didn't feel it was particularly worrisome. Most of us felt like they were going to end up having to cancel the practice, and I know a lot of people had been concerned about that with the new time with training camp this season. But the team did come back out and get in the better part of a full practice, and we got a chance to see some of the young rookies, as well as some of the free agent acquisitions and some of the longtime Bucks, as we would call them now, in this new 2014 season. When I went out there, I wanted to take a look at the rookies and see if they were, in fact, as big as we thought they were. The Duncaneers label has been tossed around, and I'll tell you this, Mike Evans is a beast. He is huge. ASJ is also huge. They look very, very athletic, and this is something that was echoed in the press conference with Coach Smith. There was a keen focus on dropping body weight, not dropping muscle or strength, but they want to be fast, strong, and light if they can be. And that was clearly evident in every player that I saw out there at training camp. Now, watching the quarterbacks and the receivers as they warmed up, Josh McCown definitely does throw a pretty ball. It comes out at high velocity and hits the hands softly. The receivers had no problem with it. Mike Glennon looked good as well. But again, this is just throwing warm-up routes and running some 7-on-7s. It's tough to discern a lot at this point from the quarterback play, especially with what we had going on at camp yesterday. I did go over and spend some time in the tight end area. You guys know I'm a big fan of tight ends. We talked a little bit about what the roster could do and our needs in blocking, because there was a comment made by Jason Light that they may keep 5 running backs, which if you start doing the math means we may not have a fullback. What are you going to do in that situation where you need another blocker? Our tight ends are not prototypical in that they're not necessarily big enough in the ass that they can get in there and block the way a tackle would. They're more split ends. Tim Wright, excellent, but he's not someone's going to get in their block as well probably as a Luke Stocker, and that was echoed on the sleds. We saw Stocker throwing the thing around like crazy, but he has to be able to stay on the field, and that's not been Luke's strong point thus far in his career. The other tight ends look good catching the routes, but they're definitely going to have to work on blocking. The nice thing is you could hear the coaching staff really working hard. It was good to hear the coaching staff interacting with the players, talking about their pad level, their foot drive, all of these things. The tight ends were responsive and listening, and they're going to continue to work on them. I moved on over to the defensive line drills where I was watching the coaching staff work with those guys on their reads, their steps, their initial steps, their depth, how they're supposed to get to the edge and set that edge, and not just set the edge, but own the edge was the phrase that I heard quoted. So based on the read and their key, how they're supposed to take on that first blocker, where their first step is going to go, because the first step dictates their pattern, and then how their punch should come out so they can actually take control of whoever their blocker is or get through that blocker to get to the guy who's actually assigned to block them. It was a lot of fun to watch those guys work over there. A lot of explosion, a lot of speed, and a lot of interactivity between the players and the coaches. Now, training camp will be back on again today at 4:30. Coach Smith in the press conference was asked a question about this. In fact, many of us were talking to the guys on the sideline about whether we would expect a press release saying that the times have been changed back to an earlier time. And Coach Smith said quite clearly, listen, we have a plan. We built the plan in the offseason. We believe in the plan. There's no reason to change it after one day. We have to be able to deal with stops and starts. In a real game, this is going to happen. And, in fact, later on, he looped back to this and said that all of this work in training camp in the offseason, yes, we're going to be ready for Jacksonville in preseason game 1, but the real goal is to be ready for Carolina in regular season game 1, who comes in and plays at 4:25, which is about the same time as training camp. That's it for this first day report. I will give you more information after today's camp, hopefully more expediently. Please do follow us at whatthebuck.net, and we look forward to talking to you here in the comments section or elsewhere.